This podcast is proud to be part of the TalkSport Fan Network. TalkSport. Powered by fans.
Well, a very, very good evening. It's Sunday night, it's always the night after. It's the game. We've got another defeat to talk about, but not only have we got another defeat to talk about, of which there are 6 goals in a game that Wolves have been involved with. Wolves have scored more than once. We've scored 2. And we've lost the game 4-2 to Leeds. It doesn't tell the whole story of the game. Every game against Leeds always seems to have some sort of controversy. Last season, we were coasting 2-0 up, Roll sending off, controversy. We lose it late on 3-2. Almost was going to be 3-2, and then there's another controversial goal at the end. There's controversial decisions again. People are talking about the refs again. People are talking about VAR again, Stockley Park. You know, the word corruption has arisen from certain fans in certain quarters. We've talked about this before, but it does seem that time after time, these things are not evening themselves up. And this is why Wolves fans are getting incredibly frustrated. Boy, do we have an absolute... we have an incredible show. We're going to be opening, I can tell you tonight, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to be opening the Pandora's box, because I've heard some views behind the scenes in the green room, and that some of them are going to get you talking. We've already got over 100 people live watching the show, so really welcome. We're going to get stuck in. We're going to be talking about the game. We're going to have honest, forthright views from our fans, our Wolves fans and pundits tonight. You guys in the chat can get involved with it as well. We're going to have, obviously, the usual, the performance rating, the man of the match, and, of course, a highlight of the day, of course, with the wheel question as well. But as well, on top of that, we do have, as requested by loads of you guys, that we have a secret word that I've given the task for every single one of our pundits tonight to try and slot in somewhere. And it's your task to see whether you can spot that secret word as well. If you've got any questions for the Wolves fans, for the pundits, make sure that you put them on. If you want to stand out, send a super chat, because that will be guaranteed on getting shown on the screen. And, put your conversations out on there, and we'll put as many questions as we can and put your thoughts in the thing. We're going to kick off. Tonight, because we've got my good friend, Jason. Guy, how you doing, mate? Welcome to the show.
I'm all right, Dave. Yeah, living the dream, mate.
Absolutely. We've got Chris from Wolf Life, Acorn to Oaks, who's the company help power the show. And Chris will obviously tell you a little bit more about how he can help you. And we've got a returning pundit who's held fire for a few weeks, and he's going to set the torch paper alight with some of his comments tonight. But we've got amazing views. We've also got Nathan, Hoops, we've got Sutty, we've got Craig, we've got Jack, all backstage in the green room. So much to talk about. And as I say, we've now up to 150 watching in the chat. Loads of you saying evening. Leave your thoughts. Let us know where you're watching from in the world, and we'll get stuck straight in. Sam, how are you?
After yesterday, I myself am very well, but we'll talk about yesterday in a bit, won't we? Yeah, very good.
And Chris, welcome back. How are you?
I'm great, thanks, Dave. Yeah, I'm good. I enjoyed watching your footage from the match yesterday. That was there was 1 or 2 expletives, which obviously we won't be joining in with.
Well, that's true. Obviously, I did our interview after the game, which has had nearly 15,000 views. I was, quite annoyed after the game. I don't tend to rant, but I had a little bit of a rant in the match vlog. We interviewed a couple of fans from Denmark and a couple of other fans as well. We had the international fans that have sent in their comments. And tonight, here on the show, we're going to be having the last say on Leeds. And obviously, we're going into the international break. At the moment, we're still somehow in 13th place, but that gap that we thought would build up has started to close. Jason, let's kick off with you, mate. A day on. How are you feeling? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, listen, I think the scoreline 4-2 was a flattering scoreline. You know, we scored. If you look at our goals, I'll go through Leeds' goals in a minute, but you look at our goals, they were both lucky goals. Yes, I know Johnny's was pretty special, but listen, 9 times out of 10 they ain't going in. Cunha goal, obviously, deflection. What surprises me most about the game yesterday, I've just looked at some stats. 66% possession we had, as opposed to Leeds 34%. 23 shots, 8 on target, as opposed to Leeds 11 shots, 4 on target. Yet we're 3-0 down at one point to a team which are in a relegation battle like us. You know, I can understand if we're 3-0 at home to Man City or possibly Chelsea, but come on, we shouldn't be 3-0 at home down to Leeds. And you know what, Dave? There was just some really, really below par performances out there. If you look at the Leeds goals, I mean, the first goal was actually a well-worked move by Leeds. Obviously, down the left, cut it back. It was a decent finish. Yes, we could have done better at closing down the player who took the shot. But the Ayling goal, I mean, you put it on your video earlier, Dave, and you've seen it on your vlog. I mean, that is just awful marking. I mean, it's just really bad. There's a player at the far post in acres of space. And
shall I just put that on the screen for everyone to see what you're referring to? Because this angle that you've got here, if you haven't watched my match vlog, this is just a little excerpt.
You swearing it, I think, Dave.
I don't know. Did I?
I think you did.
I don't know. I can't remember. But anyway, this is an angle which, I mean, I wasn't very happy at the time because the marking was, we're going to talk about, obviously, the refereeing decision, but the defending for all 3 goals. The first one, okay, kind of like, should have done better, stopped the cross, the guy got in, it's a good finish. But the second goal was dreadful defending. I mean, it was Sunday League defending. And then the third goal, Johnny Otto, what's he doing? He should never have that nicked. But let's just play for everyone to see. This is the second goal, and you can see what Jason is referring to. That's the bit where they've just...
Are you flipping joking? I think he said.
Yeah, let's just look and scroll this back just to there a little bit. And this guy, he's free on the back post. He's run from the front. Whose job is to whose job was to block that? They got 2 zonal markers, haven't they? And everyone else is man marking. Is that correct, Jason?
We've been down, ask me. I mean, look, Dave, at the end of the day, that is just indefensible at any level, let alone Premier League. And listen, that's just shocking defence. Look, he's a free man on the back post. Even I'd have scored that. It's ridiculous, Dave. That is really, really poor. The third goal as well, that was it Neeson who scored it. The way he rolled Johnny and turned it, put it through the keeper's legs. You can't blame Sarr for that. No. And then the Rodrigo goal at the end, that is the one that's made me really, really annoyed. Even more so than the Ayling goal. The Ayling goal, look, we switched off, right? The positional play was pretty poor. But the Rodrigo goal, Traore, if you look at that goal, Traore's trying to beat a player in his own half. That's where the problem first starts, right? Whether or not Traore's fouled, right? You play to the whistle. Dave, you taught that when you were in primary school. You taught that at Sunday League.
Absolutely, you're right, yeah.
You play to the whistle. And do you know what? The player goes, you watch Traore, he just watches. And Rodrigo goes, the player lays it off to Rodrigo, goes through and scores. But it's just shocking. Really, really bad defending. And you know what? At that point, we're 3-2 down. We're still in the game. So why is Traore trying to beat players in his own half? That's the concern for me. Just, Dave, 3 really, really poor goals to give away. And like I said, the Wolves too. You know, it's a flattering scoreline for me. That should have been 4-0. And bearing in mind, like I've said, that, you know, my point is, against a team like Leeds, they just wanted it more than us, Dave. And these people on social media saying, oh, they're not all must-win games. Well, yeah, they clearly are. Because each game, we're running out of games and we're losing to teams around us. And that tells me we're not going to beat the teams above us. You know, that stands to reason. I'm not too worried. You look at the table, 13th position. Yeah, are we too good to get down? Listen, there's plenty of better teams that have gone down than us. So I don't think we'll go down. But overall, that is really, really poor. And I think we can blame the refereeing decisions all we want. We can blame VAR all we want. VAR wasn't responsible for us conceding 4 goals yesterday. So,
well, it's arguably you can actually argue that the fourth one should definitely have been logged out. So maybe you can argue that one. But I get what you're saying, and I said that on my match reaction and talked about it at the end of the game as well. We can complain about the referees as much as we like, and what the decisions that we're not getting consistently, and it is becoming past the joke. I'll put this as it's past the joke now, but you don't give any team a 3-goal start and expect to win the game, especially a relegation rival. Chris, let's get on to you now. You've obviously heard what Jason has got to say. What's your thoughts on that game?
I've got to echo a lot of what Jason just said, to be fair. I mean, I thought our defending was schoolboy-like at best. And the Ayling goal, people have said that Semedo was meant to be marking him, and he got distracted by somebody. It's like, well, if you're meant to be marking somebody, just stay on him. You know, everybody rushed to the front post, and there was nobody anywhere near the back post. Nobody anywhere near. And it was just
to be fair, coming back onto you, that happened in the first half as well. There was a guy that was free on the back post. He volleyed it. We got away with it, didn't we? The warning sign was there. It happened. They tried that trick 2 or 3 times from the corners and set pieces.
It's a trick. Exactly what your video showed, which I hadn't seen, but he basically ran around the back, around the edge of the box almost, didn't he? And came. That was obviously a ploy to try and get somebody free at the back post, and it worked. I mean, the fact that Dawson went off at half time, I know he got booked. I don't know whether his organisation might have helped a little bit, but like you said, they did do that in the first half, and it nearly worked then as well. It was just shocking. And Jason's right. You know, we had 8 shots on target, but their goalie did quite well. But it was really close in chances, wasn't it? It's not like he made any spectacular saves. I was gobsmacked when he took Neves off. I mean, I guess it was because he didn't want him to get booked and miss a game. But, you know, Neves was pulling all the strings for us at that point in the game. And I thought we lost momentum.
I think that's a fair comment about Neves. I'm not sure if he's still carrying a knock, and obviously don't want him to pick up that yellow card with Forrest coming and stuff like that. I mean, I'm guessing there's reason for that. I mean, you're replacing Neves with Moutinho, who's fit enough to do that role, knows that role, you know, with the experience that he's got. We've seen Neves come on many times, and not Neves, Moutinho come on and make a difference late on in games. And maybe he can't do 90 minutes like he used to, but he should be able to do 20 minutes. But it kind of like did almost like a bit in the Newcastle game. He made the changes and we got level, and then it kind of took away the momentum. Obviously, the red card, which watching it back was the correct decision, really. When you look back on it, it was a red card. But even then, I thought we were the better side. I mean, the keeper still pulled off a couple of good saves. After that, we've seen us play against Southampton with a player less, and we always play better with one less man. But you know, the fourth goal is an absolute killer.
I thought he should have brought on Traore earlier myself.
Yeah, Traore did good. He was getting to the byline and stuff like that. But as Jason says, we've all played football. You know, there's some basic rules. If in Johnny Otto, third goal, he's trying to hold the ball. The guy just kicks through his legs, wins the ball. He's the ball. What's that? If in doubt,
stick it out.
Kick it out. If in doubt, kick it out. Get rid of the damn ball out the danger zone. Yeah. You know, the other basic rule is play to the whistle. You play to the whistle.
Yeah.
Traore had a very good, in my opinion, reason, and it was right in front of the Wolves bench and all that, to be aggrieved that it was a tug back. It did stop him from the momentum of the ball. And you can understand, but he stood there once, he stops, then play continues, then he gets the tackle in, he loses it, and then play continues, and he's standing there, going,
yeah.
And as a professional footballer, I can understand the frustration of the players because of the decisions that are constantly going, and maybe that's something psychologically that's got to do with it. And I know that when we do our in-person podcast on Thursday, I know Paul wants to talk about things like that as well. Go on, Jason.
I was just going to say, sorry to interrupt, Dave, but Traore's the fastest player on that pitch, and he's the one who's just standing still and just looking at the ref and putting his arms up like that. Traore tracks back. He's got the player, or he's at least pressuring the player into making a mistake or rushing a pass or whatever. So for me, that was the worst goal out there, worse than Ayling's. Listen, Ayling, it was actually another decent move, I suppose, but that was a really, really poor goal to concede, especially when we start getting back into the game. I mean, when Johnny scored, I couldn't see us drawing the game. Then when the second goal goes in, you think, oh, here we go.
13 minutes to go plus added time when the second goal goes in.
Absolutely.
And the momentum was so with us. I mean, to be fair, and we're going to come on to Sam in a minute. I know you're listening to all this, Sam. To be fair, people have hit the nail on the head. You've said it. In both halves of the game, the first half and the second half, the first 5 minutes, it's like we were sluggish. Leeds come out the first 5 minutes, and they were on top of us and pressured us, and they got the goal. And I said on my match vlog just before, and I said it on the thing that that they look like they're going to score, and then they do score. And at the start of the second half, we get caught with the same trick again. We battered them for the rest of the first half. We absolutely battered them, but we didn't score. We didn't have, we got unlucky. They played a couple of saves. We never really created anything major, but we didn't score the goal. And, we had that beautiful ball that was cut across the face of goal, where three Wolves players just failed to get a touch. It was, some good stuff, the ricochets and Leeds were defending.
Dave, I understand when people say it's fine margins. One person put in, if we'd have got the penalty. Listen, there's loads of ifs and buts. We've conceded 4 goals at home, and 3 were very, very poor. So we can say if we want about all the decisions and if we'd have got the penalty and this, that, the other, we still conceded 4 at home. So we was always going to lose. And Traore, I know I'm going back to this point, it's the 97th minute where he concede, and he's trying to beat a player in his own half. When he took that end of the pitch, why did you just hoof it up that end of the pitch for someone to chase onto? Just literally hoof it. Just anyone, just go for broke, and then there's a chance of a point. Instead, he loses it, doesn't track back. They score.
And they basically hit us on the counter because we've got a player down and we've got everyone else up. You don't lose the position there. I mean, to be fair to the guy, it's a great finish. It's a lovely little. It's a great finish.
He should never have had that time and space and that opportunity in the 97th minute to do that to seal the game. Yeah,
absolutely. Let's go on to Sam, who hasn't left Molineux. He's doing a sit-in. He's doing a sit-in since yesterday. He's not left. They can't get rid of him. He's got squatters' rights. If you're listening to this on the podcast, he's got a picture of Molineux with. It's almost like you've got fire coming out your ears, mate. To be honest,
I literally have got fire coming out of my ears. I moved my season ticket a few weeks ago, and I was sitting in the flank of the Billy Wright stand, so I'd got the side view of what you've got on that goal. And he did. He went all the way around the back of our player with nobody tracking him. Now, my first question to Lopetegui is, what the hell are you doing in training? Because you're not working on set pieces and where players move to. Your zonal marking isn't working. Traore, I'll come with what you've just said there, Joe. He is a lazy player. I'm sorry. He'll race after something. He'll lose it. He's not interested. He just stops. And he showed that 3 times yesterday. As you say, going down the wing in the 97th minute. He ran, he lost it, he stopped, he started again. You've got to keep going for a ball. If you lose a ball as a player, you have to go after it to win it back. That's what we were taught. So I'm going to bring one in as well. Sarr in goal. What is he doing with these balls, trying to kick round players instead of, as soon as he receives the ball, clearing it? Because that is costing us. He's playing players into difficult positions to then play out from the back. Surely, in this situation, we have got to revert, unfortunately, to hoofing that ball up the pitch.
it's not the style that he wants us to play, though, is it? I mean, it's
No.
a lot of teams now, you can hoof the ball up the pitch. They've got like 4 or 5 central wangy big defenders who are just going to pick that off and win the ball back. So obviously they're trying to, play the ball out, because we have got ball playing players. We've got a lot of quality on the ball. But the thing is, and like my dad and Stan and thingy, what they get frustrated with is sometimes we just don't play the quick ball when we've got the opportunity. Which can, and we saw that under Large a lot, and in some ways, I think it's definitely improved the quality on how we're playing under Julian. I mean, you only got to look at the points that he's got. But I mean, the other question is, we see a lot of, and this is going to go to, I know you're going to make a point on Julian in a minute. We'll come to that, because that's going to set the fire. That's probably going to set Molyneux alight behind you. We'll have to come and send a fire engine to get you out when you say what you're going to say. But coming on to Jason, we often criticised Bruno Lage for making very, very late substitutions, like, 80th minute on. But the last few games, Lopetegui almost seems to change 2 players at half-time every game. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think arguably you could say that some of these substitutes are pre-planned before the game. I wouldn't really like to call that, but when he changes them at the same time each game, you got to think that I don't know. His in-game management has been very good. It has. We can't criticise it, but I think it's that where we've got it probably wrong the last 2 games or last 3 games is the starting 11. But Dave, you know what? You can look at it a million ways, can't you? I'm just so disappointed, really disappointed.
I mean, Keith. Sutty will say this because I know I put a poll out on the Always Wolves Fan TV Twitter about was this a must win or a must not lose? My view on it was we wanted to win the game for definite, obviously, because it puts a bigger gap. We get us close to 7. But the last thing we wanted to do was we must not lose that game. And
Dave, can I just interject there? They're all must wins. Lopetegui doesn't go in that dressing room before a match and say, "Right, let's get."
Yeah, no, absolutely. I agree. I absolutely agree. We've got to win the game, but you can't lose.
I don't understand the mentality
the gap doesn't close.
I don't understand the mentality when we're in a relegation battle and we're looking for a point. Yeah, let's take a point against Man City. Let's take a point against Liverpool. Any team around us, we've got to be looking at 3 points. We've got to be looking at 3 points because we know.
I fully agree with that. We've got to be getting the 3 points, but we've equally not got to be losing the game, because if you don't lose the game, and we could have got a draw in the end out of a miracle, because that could have happened. Leeds have now closed the gap to within 1 point. They've had a 2-goal difference shift. They've got a game in hand. Had we have managed to not lose that game, they'd have still been 5 points back. So that's why I was saying, I think what it has done, it has now put incredible pressure on the next game. Yeah. We've got Forest away, who are great home. That, to me, now is a must win. That is a must win. We have to go there because of losing that game. We have to beat Forest, because if we don't beat Forest, we're going to start getting pulled back in, or even worse. We've got to win that game. Chris, what points from your own side do you want to make about the game itself? You were in the Steve Bull?
With me? No, Billy Wright.
Billy Wright, sorry,
I just think we need to make. You're absolutely right. We do need to win every game, Jason. I mean, we've got to at least try to win every game, and we need to make Molyneux a fortress, and we need to make it a cathedral of sound. So when anybody comes, it's scary, and we need to start off 100% from the first second the ball's kicked, because we've just got to. The other teams, Everton, Forest, teams that are struggling, they all do well at home. Everton are bloody awful away, but they're pretty good at home, and we've got to be the same, because we can't expect to be winning too many away games, but we've got to win all our home games. And I was quite disappointed with Neves coming off, like I said, and I was a bit shocked by Sarabia coming on at half time, because he didn't seem to do a fat lot to me. He doesn't affect the game a lot. Adama.
That can actually be said about Sarabia in pretty much most of the games, considering he was bought in for his goals and assists. I thought Neto was really good up until half-time. I know he's coming back from fitness, but he seemed very sharp. I was surprised he was taken off so soon, Chris.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, maybe it was a fitness thing, and like Jason said, maybe it was a pre-planned substitution. I mean, I can't imagine Dawson was pre-planned. I can only imagine that was maybe he got a knock, or maybe it was the yellow card and they were fearful he was going to get sent off. But I mean, in-game management. I just wish he'd brought on Adama earlier, and like Jason said, he hasn't got the. He's good at chasing after the ball when it's going towards their goal, not so much the other way. And we all need to be working our tails off, 100% of the time to give us a chance, because that's what Leeds were doing. Leeds aren't better than us. They were better than us yesterday, but they're not a better team.
I don't think they were better than us, Chris. I don't think that Leeds were better than us yesterday. The stats show that they weren't. We had more shots on target, more possession, but they had four shots.
4 shots on target, and they scored all of them.
And 4 went in the back of the net. It's
But
what they did is they finished their chances, and we didn't. And we gave them easy chances.
Although Leeds had a lot less possession, they made a lot less mistakes as well, and they looked a lot more compact than us. They looked a lot more organised than us. Yeah. And it was the mistakes that let us down yesterday.
Big time mistakes. We're going to come on to Sam now. I just want to say, guys, if you think we've got like over 300 watching live, I hope you're enjoying this. If you are, please smash the video like it lets YouTube know you're enjoying it. And if you are discovering us for the first time, please hit that subscribe button, because we always have loads of content coming up here virtually every day. Sam, obviously we've talked about the in-game management. We've talked about the stuff. We haven't even got onto the VAR and the refereeing decisions yet. We're going to talk about. You've come on tonight because you said you want to make a point about the manager, which is everyone sit down. Fire.
Yeah, I'm going to lie down for this, Dave.
Yeah, I got called out at the beginning when Lopetegui was given the role as head coach. I still stand by what I said. He's not the man for the job. I'm sorry, but we're in a relegation battle. It is must-win games. The games coming up: Forest away, Chelsea at home, Brentford at home, Leicester away, Palace at home, Brighton away, Villa at home, Man United away, Everton at home, and Arsenal away. The way we're playing at the moment, where are the points coming from? The way we're playing. So, what's your plan, Lop? What are you going to do? What are you training these lads to do? Because from where I'm looking at, I feel I could do a better job at the moment. It's
Sam Payne. I'm seriously.
You're in the dugout, Sam.
I'm seriously going to ask you a question. Are you saying that you don't want Lopetegui?
I don't think he's the right man for the job. I didn't when he was appointed. Bruno Lage definitely wasn't the right man for the job. I hark back at the moment. We're in a relegation battle. We're appointing a new head coach. He doesn't know the Premier League. He's bought in players that aren't Premier League players. They've played in other top leagues, but it's not Premier League. It's not the pace of our league. It's not the style of our league. I was seeing the comments coming up. Yeah, he might be a huge improvement, but our position in the table doesn't tell me he's a huge improvement. We are 28 games played and 27 points. That is abysmal. Okay, bottom of the table, Southampton played 28 with 23 points. Do you know what? That's 5 points between us. And as you look up the teams, Bournemouth have got a game in hand. Yeah. West Ham have got 2 games in hand. Forest and Leicester have got a game in hand. Leeds have got a game in hand. If they all win their games and we lose our next game, we are 18th in the table.
Well, mate, you see in the relegation. You're going to see in the comments. Yeah. I'm going to come back. Aid has got a question for you, and we're going to go to Jason and stuff. How does Sam explain going from 20s to 30?
It's not clueless. It's not clueless, Aid. We are a 1 point above being back in 16th, 2 points away from being in 17th.
Yeah, but
but that isn't good enough. This guy was bought in because he was going to be our saviour, and he's not. We're still in the situation we were at.
I think we've just got to be a little bit realistic in as much as what we was watching under Lage and Davis. You can't really bring Davis into this, but Large especially. Look, we was definitely going down under Bruno Lage, and I don't think we are under Lopetegui.
Well, how are you going to say from what I've just given you the actual realisticness there? Okay, the games we've got coming up, where are you going to say we're going to get how many points? 40 points. We say this season.
38.
I mean, my argument is
you want 11 points. Well, where are the 11 points going to come from?
When Lopetegui took over, we was 20th. If we finish 17th, the man's done a brilliant job. It's as simple as that. If he keeps us up, he's done a brilliant job. Of course, we're not going to be safe now. There's still so many games to play. So if he keeps us up in 17th position by 1 point, the man has done an unbelievable job on the basis we was bottom of the league when he took over. However, I'll get your frustration with certain things, but we was never going to make Europe this time, was we? You know, we was never going to make Europe this season. We can't blame Lopetegui.
That wasn't the attention after Bruno's mess that he left us with. That was nowhere near it. But the point I'm making, he isn't the manager they said he was. All these comments coming up, he was a Super League manager here and there.
Yeah, but
he isn't tackling it in the Premier League, is it?
He was never going to do that this season. Was he, Sam? I want to judge Lopetegui next season when he's got a full season at it. I don't think we should really be judging him now. His mantra is keep us in the Premier League. Simple as that. That's his mantra. Yes, it wasn't great yesterday. It was awful yesterday. But I've got a lot of faith in Lopetegui, and I think we're going to go places with him. Yeah. But I don't think this season is difficult. I get your frustrations, but I think this season it's very, very difficult to judge him with the squad. I mean, look, when he took over, look at the bench. You know, I was nearly on it at one point. It was awful. And you know what? He's got some experience in. Yes, they're not gelling as quickly as we'd like, and we've had all the decisions against us. I get it. Look, we can give a million reasons, but if he keeps us in this league, he's done a good job. Well,
I'm not going to swear online, but it'll be a miracle the way it's going. And I'll go back to, go on, tell me where the points are going to come from for those games.
We're going to come back onto that in a minute, right? Because I did warn everyone he's literally going to like the tough
literally
pace. You know, he's coming on. You know, you can see the debate's good. Let's just park that.
Listen, you know, Sam's entitled to his opinion, and there's people agreeing with him, and that's great. But we've just got a slightly differing opinion. And I think we're going to stop up, Sam.
Let's see what Chris has to say. Chris, yeah, you know, you've literally just been sat back, kicked your chairs up on the deck chair, gone like this and gone, wow, this is great, this is. So you're on the screen, mate, so you're next up to give your opinion. Do you agree with Jason or 100%. Sam?
I think Sam maybe he's entitled to his opinion, and I think that his opinion will prove to be incorrect. I think Lopetegui has got the experience of a much higher level than Larg, and to be fair, Bruno ever had. You know, he's been at the European football level for several seasons in the past, and you know, you can't expect to bring players in and automatically them fit straight in the team. I mean, Dawson's been pretty good though, to be fair. He's going to keep us in the division, even if he's by the skin of our teeth, in my opinion. And I think pretty much everybody's comments are saying the same. But you know, Sam, yeah, good for you for voicing your strongly held opinion. But I think we'll end up being 15th, 16th. And your question about where the points are going to come from, we're going to beat Southampton, we're going to beat Everton. We might surprise Brentford and Brighton.
We haven't got Southampton.
Oh, no, I thought we said Southampton.
No.
Crystal Palace. Crystal Palace. That's who I was thinking of.
Listen, and also there's three worse teams than us, isn't there? Yes. You know, could probably name 4 or 5. But there's definitely 3 worse
then, Jace, name them, because at the moment there aren't.
Let's just have a quick look. Let's just stop and have a quick look at the current Premier League table as of the BBC. Not that one.
The three worst teams are Southampton, Palace, and Everton. And I defy anyone to disagree with what I'm saying.
And Leicester.
You think Leicester as well? Where's the
bloody awful recently? They look good, but they can't keep a clean sheet.
So you think Wolves are going down then, Sam?
if this form and the way we're playing at the moment continues, I can't see us getting out of it. I can't see us getting a win at Forest. I'm sorry, but I can't. The way we're playing, they're going to run over us. They really are. And
Sam
they
said
were
if
awful.
Sam said if then. I think I changed his mind.
Oh,
No, you haven't.
It's starting to bend. Listen,
I'm joking.
Sam, let's just we're going to ask everyone whether they agree with you. You know, you've come on here and literally, I think you're auditioning for a role on Strictly to replace Craig Revel-Horwood. To be honest, mate, it's like you know what I mean. It's like, but that's fair enough. The one thing that we do with this channel, and we always try to do, it doesn't matter your view. It doesn't matter what your views, as long as you come across, you don't swear and stuff like that. You know, you can come on and say what you think, and that's the beauty. You know, I'll give you credit, Sam, because you've come on and you've said it, and I've kind of said before the show, most people aren't going to agree with you, but you come on and say it. So we respect that. Jason, let's go back on to looking at. Because we've got over 350 watching live now. Jason, you're a highlight of the day, your performance rating, man of the match. And don't forget, guys, you've got to get the secret word in there somewhere.
Man of the match for me, it's difficult to pick any standout player from yesterday. But I'll just give it to Ruben Neves just because he's consistent throughout the game. I was surprised too when he got brought off. But yeah, just give it to Ruben Neves. And I'm going to say something controversial now. If he stays with us next season, he needs his head looking at. Anyway, moment of the game for me was Nunes because he showed more passion on that sideline than 70% of the players out on that pitch. Performance rating, reluctantly, I'm going to give it a 5. And I was thinking about a 4, but I just thought that the mistakes that we made it's in such an important game was just indefensible, really. Indefensible. There you go. Yeah. And we didn't have defense. So, yeah, for me, 5 out of 10.
Over to you, Chris.
I'm going to say 5.5 out of 10, purely because we had 23 shots, which I don't know how many times we've had 23 shots in the last 10 games, but, you know, we were doing something right going forward. We just got to put them in the net, ain't we? But the shocking defending. So I'm going to say 5.5 out of 10. Man of the match, I completely agree with Jason. Ruben Neves, because quite frankly, he didn't really have any competition apart from a few flashes by Troy Uri. And I thought the ref played quite well for Leeds, but apart from that, I'd say Ruben Neves. Funny, Johnny's goal. I'm going to give that the standout moment. How many players can score a worldie that somebody on the telly said something about goal of the season contender, and then get sent off a few minutes later? It doesn't happen very often. So
be culpable for definitely 1, possibly 2 goals. Get sent off and scored it's a statistical fact. It is the furthest out goal that has been scored in the Premier League since 2017, and it was a volley as well.
And how many fullbacks score goals like that? Not too many, I suspect.
No, but the
he might do it 20 times and miss 19 times. But
it's just so typical of Wolves. We score 2 goals and we still lose 4-2. You know, and we haven't even, as I say, we haven't even got on to the refereeing decisions as such yet. So, you know, that's good. I mean, I feel like at the moment that Sam needs to go and get himself into a cathedral and make some prayers or something, because we need to pray according to Sam. Your performance rating, man of the match, and your highlights of the day. It can be anything, Sam.
Well, first of all, when I go to my Saturday afternoon at the Golden Cathedral, I always want to watch a good game of football. And pains me to say, although we lost 4-2, we saw some goals. So the highlight was there was 6 goals scored, of which Johnny scored his worldie, so I'll give him that. I can't agree with your ratings, though. I'm sorry. I am giving it a 4 out of 10. It was awful. Once we stepped off the gas, it had gone. So that was it, I'm afraid. And as for Salisbury, Mariner, Coote, what can you say? We'll talk about that in a minute.
Well, yeah, we will get onto that. That's for sure. Chris, I'm going to bring the wheel on quickly, and we're going to pick a question for everyone, just to lighten the mood just a little bit. I'm going to spin that wheel and see what I come up with today. Doing that one because we've done that one. Aliens thing. Right, here we go. Not doing that one. Last chance saloon. I like this one. We're going to go first of all with Sam. I'm going to put you on the spot. When and where would you time travel to? This is for every pundit tonight. When and where would you time travel to?
So difficult. I think I would time travel back to 1980 and Wembley. Watching a good game of football. So that would be my time to remember.
Fantastic. And Chris?
I'm going to time travel. I'm going to say 4 seasons into the future when Lopetegui wins the league for us.
Wow. A forward time travel. I like it. Sam will be there cheering you up, bouncing on the pitch, saying, I told you. And I told you.
When Neves doesn't leave.
And guess what? Sam will be, at that point be wanting to time travel to 5 minutes before this show started and say, do you know what? Jason, over to you.
I've got a bit of a morbid fascination with Wolves in the 80s, in particular between 82 and 86, under the dark days. And so I'd actually want to travel back to then, because my first match was in 1989, so I'd want to travel back to between 82 and 86 and watch all them games and see how bad it really was, and then come on here and then not moan as much. But yeah, I'd want to go back to that era.
Fair enough. Any particular moments that you'd want to relive? It wasn't you that fell through the roof at Scarborough, was it?
No, it's mate with legs as long as mine, mate. I'd have hit the floor first. No, I don't particularly know. I've done the interview with Doug Hope on the podcast and obviously put it in the book, and it was just some really, really interesting times. So I just think I would have liked to have been around then to see what it was really, really like. Like I said, my first match was 89, and then obviously we had the momentum under Graham Turner and the club kept, going forward. So yeah, that era would have been fascinating for me.
Absolutely brilliant. Thanks, guys. Sam, thanks ever so much for coming and lighting the touch paper and setting fire to Molyneux. Chris, before we finish with yourself, do you just want to give everyone just a little bit of information again about Wolf Like Acorn to Oaks and how you can help them?
Yeah, so we're a local company. We want to help all of the Wolves fans, everybody in the local area, based in Bilston. We're all local people. We can help you with all your financial services needs, so mortgages, pensions, any sort of business insurance, and even home insurance. We've got all the bases covered. If you want to drop us an email, I think it's in the description. You can email me. I'll give you a link.
There's a link
down there, yeah.
And you can fill that in.
And it'll be me that you're in contact with, and if I'll put you in contact with any of the other guys who cover other areas. But we just want to be here to help you all, because we can quite frankly, we'll do a better job than going to a bank for any of your needs, for example.
And to underpin that, Chris, I'm doing something with you at the minute, and Chris has been brilliant so far. So thanks, I would recommend him as well.
Yeah, and also if you don't click the link below, if you get in touch with Always Wolves or myself, I will put you in contact, because I say at the moment, mortgages and all that sort of stuff, if you're looking at renewing and or life insurance and stuff like that, it's important, and you might as well go to someone that you can know and trust and runs a local company. Jason, any latest on the old fundraising? You launched your Wolf Whistle beer and stuff.
That's gone really well. So the beer's raised over 1,200 quid for the charity so far. We've also, if people follow me on Twitter, they'll see that I'm pushing some T-shirts now, some Wolves All Stars T-shirts, and that's raising money for the 1P36 Family Trust. And it's a friend of mine who's got a T-shirt printing business in Wolverhampton, so they produce locally as well. And we've got the Doug Hope night on the 30th of this month, and I've just said about the dark days of the 80s.
Is that sold out, mate?
There's probably about I could probably squeeze another table in, but they all pretty much sell out quickly, and the dugout one was no exception. He's going to talk all about the times under Derek Duguid as chairman, under the Batty brothers, the problems that we had with the council. It's really fascinating stuff. So that's one night not to be missed.
Absolutely. Well, guys, thanks for joining us. It's going to be an epic one tonight for sure. We've had some real interesting opening conversation, and we're going to be going into 3/3 tonight because we've got so many people wanting to come on.
Lopetegui in.
Dave,
That might be a great TikTok, that ad.
Could be, yeah. Dave, just before we do go, can I just mention something? Obviously, next Sunday, if people aren't going to Shrewsbury to see Dave Edwards' testimonial game, you can go earlier in the day. The Wolves Diversity Disability teams are playing in various games prior to the testimonial. Cool. Under 12s, under 16s, and the adult teams are all playing on the side pitches, and you can go along and watch it.
Well, here's
brilliant. That's brilliant, that is, Sam.
That is great.
Brilliant.
Mate, and you won a tournament, didn't you?
We went up to Manchester City, children's half term just gone, and we played in the Manchester City Cup. We won the league, but unfortunately we didn't win the cup. So we had a really good game in that. And then more recently, we're playing the Staffordshire Disability Counts Leagues, and we have two teams in the Championship. One team, our black coloured team, has won the league and been promoted to the Premier League. So it's all good through the foundation and the disability. So
maybe
again,
you should have the Wolves job then, Sam.
Say no more.
And just on that, you were talking about obviously the Dave Edwards Shrewsbury thing. Just as a little bit of a heads up, myself, Jason, and the guys, should be meeting up at Molyneux on Thursday, doing an in-person podcast as it's the international break, and all being well, that will be with Dave in person, and that should be dropping on the channel on about Friday. So looking forward to that as well. So if any of you guys follow Always Wolves or whatever, you got any questions for that podcast, make sure you fire them over, because we're gonna have Dave in person, and obviously we will be talking about his fundraising and charity event as well. Guys, thanks ever so much. We need to move on to the next pundits now, but appreciate your passion, much appreciated.
Always Wolves.
Yes, Dave.
Always Wolves.
Always Wolves.
See you.
See you later.
So absolutely great opening to the show. Next up, we've got Hoops. We've got
Evening.
Sutty.
Hey, Dave.
We have the voice of reason, Jack, coming up. How are you guys? Thanks for waiting so patiently. And we've got another three guys in that. We've got Chris, Craig, and Nathan in the green room as well for this show. So first of all, Hoops, how are you feeling today? How are you?
Okay. Just listening to the guys there. It's a little bit of therapy, I think, for us after yesterday. So yeah, from a football sense, we'll dig in. I'm doing okay, but I think with the result yesterday, I was walking home from the game, and I think I've come to a point in life with the Wolves, because I've followed them for so many years, that I felt as if I could kind of context these games, and they'd kind of wash over me, these bad results, because I've seen enough of them over the years. But I was just in a stinking mood all evening. I walked home because I didn't want to bring that walk into the house of kind of, with the foul mood that I was in, take it out on the kids and the missus. And I was trying to get it out of my system. And because it was just, the game was chaos, wasn't it? But I was up on
chaos is one word for it, for sure.
Yeah, I was up all night, and I don't know if it was because I'm having these vivid dreams because I had too much Cathedral City cheese last night when I was a bit peckish, or whether I was just kind of going back to the game and just thinking of that second and third goal. But it kept me up all night, and I still think we'll be okay. But I feel like we'll limp over the line rather than a little bit of a jog, which I thought we might have had a few weeks ago. So I'm a little bit more nervous, but I'm still positive that ultimately we'll get across the line, but it won't be as smooth as I think many of us perhaps thought a few weeks ago.
Well, yeah, we were starting to think that. I mean, Jack is always the voice of reason. We're going to save you up for a minute, but like, there's a lot of people that seem to be very excited that Sutty, what someone put, he's got his game face on and his face and eyes there, mate. Well, great to have you back on, mate. You look very serious tonight. How are you feeling?
Not very good, Dave. Very poor, weren't we? Let's think about it, really. This season has been... Are we after 9 o'clock yet, Dave?
We are just about after 9 o'clock. It's now 8 minutes past as we're recording this, if you're listening to it back.
Yeah, it's been a shit show, isn't it, Dave? Let's be honest. This whole season has been a catalyst of errors from top to bottom. You can't blame this whole season on Bruno Lage. I'm not a Bruno Lage fan. I'm not. I'll just put it out there. He got a lot of things wrong, but also he got a lot of things. We were fourth at one point last season, so he couldn't have been that bad, Dave. But no, he got a lot of things wrong. Jeff Shee, Scott Sellers got a lot of things wrong. There's a catalyst of errors have gone on that has put us in this position today. Lopetegui is, you can't judge Lopetegui now. Okay. If you look at the bottom 9 teams, we're still, since Christmas, generating the most points out of the bottom 9. I think we're on 1.3 points per game. So he is doing the job. We were bottom. Let's not forget that. We were bottom, rock bottom. We were poor. But the whole club, Dave, has been poor this season. And that's not just on the pitch. That's, Molineux at times, Dave. Let's be honest. I mean, you'd have found more atmosphere at 2 o'clock in the morning in Worcester Cathedral than you would at Molineux sometimes. It's been that poor, right? But I'm going to hark back because I don't know if did you read my my sort of rant on our fan forum that I wrote at 4:30 this morning because I couldn't sleep. I don't know if you read it. And I hark back.
Going through all the comments, mate. There's quite a lot on there, and I know you weren't very happy at all.
Well, I hark back, Dave. I do remember the mid 80s, and it does make me chuckle when people go on about the dark days of League One. Take it from me, they were not dark days. The dark days were when we were 5 minutes from going bust, and we had 2 stands open, and we didn't have a pot to pee in, as the saying goes. But what we did have, and it dug us out of a big hole, was we had some balls, Dave. We had Bull, Tomo, all of these kind of players playing for us who all collectively decided they're going to dig us out of a hole with a manager at the top called Graham Turner. And if you don't show balls, you ain't going to win nothing, right? Now, Alex Ferguson once said, if you have 3 players that don't perform in any one game, you will lose. If you have 3 players that aren't performing, you will lose. Now, yesterday, I counted, we had 6 players that didn't perform to any level. You've lost straight away. Now, I always thought, forgive me for being stupid here, I always thought football, especially a 3 o'clock kickoff, you kick off at 3 o'clock and you start playing at 1 second past 3. I didn't realise you started playing at 7 minutes past 3. Why do we keep giving teams such... I mean, we might as well just give them a penalty in the first minute and say, there you go. Get it over and done with. There you go. We are defensively an utter shambles. And it's got to stop. We've got to go to Forest next week now. Don't give me any of this must not lose. We have got to win. They've got to go there. They've got to go there and they've got to roll their sleeves up and they've got to really dig. And I don't care how we win. I don't care if we win 1-0 and it comes off Jimenez's backside. I do not care. We have got to win. But also, the 3,000 supporters that are there have got to be horrible, Dave. It's time that we started being horrible again. Molyneux's become all too nicey. You might disagree with this. And, you know, people are saying, oh, you're trying to hark back to the 80s and that. Molyneux used to be horrible to go to. People used to be frightened to go there, Dave. Not anymore. Oh, let's go to Molyneux, 3 points, doddle. Even the fans don't make a noise anymore. It don't matter. We'll get points there. It's easy. They'll roll over. We'll tickle their belly. They'll roll over. We've got to fight. If we don't fight,
Sooty, can I just stop you there? Did you not? I mean, I don't know what you think. Obviously, we got stunned with the first goal, but like, I did think that the fans were quite good yesterday. I mean, especially when we started to fight back, they really got behind the team and drove the team on, and it was quite, loud, and they got behind the thing. But sometimes it's like people forget that when we're not playing well or we're conceding goals, it just completely knocks the wind out of the fans as well. But they did get behind them. Dave,
Leeds are rubbish. We went there, first game of the season. They had 2 shots on goal and beat us 2-1, right? And
Absolutely,
that was poor defending again. That place, I'm pretty sure, if you've been stood in Sheffield Town Centre, you'd have heard the home support. They're horrible.
Oh, I agree. Absolutely. Ellen Road is one of the nastiest places to go.
Be really horrible, Dave. We ain't no more. And people come to Molyneux thinking, oh, it's easy there. They'll roll over. There's no grit. We need a bit of grit. And I don't care how we win next week. We have to win. Nothing else is any good, because as winning becomes a habit, so does losing. And we're in a rut, Dave. We're in a rut.
Well, we've lost to Bournemouth, and now we've lost to Leeds, and both of those,
in 3 games against Leeds,
both of those would have been home and safe by now.
3 games against Leeds, and let's be honest, they're crap. 3 games against Leeds from last season, we've linked 9 goals.
Wow. When you put it like that, 9 goals.
I mean, come on. We're not playing Man City. We're playing Leeds. They're crap.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's, Sooty, you make some good points. Right, so we've had Hoops. We've had Sooty, who is really upset, and quite rightly so. Let's go to the voice of reason, Jack. Let's just see how upset Jack is, because if Jack's upset, it's a very big barometer. Go on, mate.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think in isolation, it was a horrible, horrible day, wasn't it? We missed chance after chance. I was saying to my friend earlier on the phone, I said, if I was Lopetegui, the one thing I'd do in the international break, I'd drive down myself to Reading, and I'd buy Alex Ray's contract as assistant manager out from Reading, and I'd get him on our training ground, teaching players how to put their laces through shots. Because we had about 4 chances yesterday.
And Neto had a great chance, didn't he? From that drive from Pedence, who tried to come out to him, and then it was powder puff.
Yeah, and we might as well have picked the ball up and just given it back to the keeper. There was no aggression, no viciousness in the shots at all. And I think that's just so frustrating, because objectively, we created more chances yesterday than I think we've done in any game under Lopetegui. Even when we played Gillingham in the Cup, we didn't create that many chances that we did yesterday. If we'd have put our laces through the shots and had some conviction, we'd have probably won the game, despite the defensive horror show that we had at the other end. And that's the other thing that's really frustrating, because I don't think under Lopetegui we've been that bad defensively. I think we missed Dawson's second half. I do think we missed his organisation, his leadership, and all those kind of things. But generally, under Lopetegui, we've been okay at the back. We've not had too many goals where we've given away through horrible bits of individual play or just, people completely out of position. It's been okay. It's not been amazing. We've still got 2 clean sheets in 11 league games, something like that, which again doesn't sound amazing, but it's been an improvement under what it was previously. But yesterday we were just all over the shop, I mean, the first goal, again, it's a well-worked move, but where's the marking? Where's the aggression? Again, where's the intensity to get out and make a challenge?
Well, what he's talking about, the first 6 minutes, it was all Leeds. They shouldn't be all over us in the first 6 minutes. They should come to us, and right from the first second, we should be all over them. They shouldn't even be able to breathe and get the crowd going and all that. But it's like what Sutty said, give them a penalty and so we can goal down and we can start playing. Yeah, once we went a goal down, we played good. We didn't get the breaks. We had a couple of chances. We didn't take them again. Typical. We went in 1-0. If we'd have gone in level or whatever, you couldn't have argued. But second half, same things happen again. What happens between, you see players in the tunnel getting wound up and going and stuff like that. Come on. And they come out and they're asleep. Where's the intensity? And then they go in the changing room again and they come out and there's no intent. And it's kind of like they're being wound up as they're running around, charging the batteries, and then they start. But by then you've conceded 2 goals.
Dave, do you think as well? Sorry, Jack, and Jack, by all means, let me know what you think on this. But just while it's on the mind, do you think that some of those performances yesterday, to me, were quite telling in respect of these players think they're not going to be here next year? Because, where's their motivation? There were a number of performances yesterday, and Suddy mentioned there's 6, and there's a number of players there that I just looked at them and I thought, they're going through the motions. Where's their bite? Where's their intensity? Is it just the fact that they've got a realisation that they're just going to see and go through the motions and not going to be here next year? And I'm calling out players like Podence and players like that. To me, it was telling. I just looked at them and I thought, your heart's not in this. And why is that? Is it tactical in the way in which you're being played? Or is it, as we're referencing, a lack of bite, a lack of balls, and a lack of, investment? Because are they already thinking, well, I'm just going to see this through. I'm not going to get an injury because I'm going to be off. That's the way it appeared to me yesterday.
I just want to share this because if you're not got Always Wolves Fan TV, alwayswolves.co.uk bookmarked, we have great writers and bloggers that write for us. We have match reports, things we learn. These are the player ratings that was given by Nick Parks yesterday. Jose Sarr a 4, Semedo a 4, Kilman a 6, Dawson a 5, Johnny Otto a 2, Mario Lemina a 4, Gomez a 5, Neves a 6, Neto a 5, Podence 3, Raul 4, Collins 5, Traore gave a 7, Kuna 6, Sarabia 4, Martinho 6, and the VAR and the officiating a 0. I mean, they aren't, an average rating for a player that's had a decent game he's always had an okay game. It's kind of a 7. There's only one player he put down as a 7. I mean, Hoops has jumped in there. Back onto what you were saying, Jack, and obviously seeing those ratings. How do you come back on what Hoops has said about that?
Yeah, no, I think it's difficult, isn't it? We don't know the ins and outs of the dressing room. We don't know whether Lopetegui's had conversations with players already and said, listen, come the summer, you need to find a new club. You're not going to be part of this, my plans. You can't play the way that I want you to play. All these kind of things. We don't know whether that's happened. My suspicion is he probably has. We've seen players being left out and things like that. So certainly Podence, and I know we sort of single him out sometimes, but he was the prime example yesterday of someone who, you need to roll your sleeves up. No one's going to give you points. Don't matter how bad the opposition are. They're not going to give you points in the Premier League. You've got to earn the right to be on that pitch and to be the better team and to play well. And he didn't do that. He was trying flicks and all sorts of things. And as soon as he lost the ball, hands went up, turned around. I hate players that run forward and walk back. There's so many players, aren't there? That when we're attacking, it's great. As soon as we lose the ball, not interested. That's someone else's job. We're a team here. You need 11 defenders and 11 attackers on the pitch if you can. Everyone's got a job to do defensively and everyone's got a job to do when you've got the ball and you're going forward and attacking and pressing and all those things. And we've got too many players, I think, that don't contribute on one side of it. Podence is a good example. I think Traore's got better, but I still don't think he does enough defensively. You can see that with the 4th goal, can't you? Whether it's a foul or not, I think it is. But, he's still got to do his bit, hasn't he? And if he needs to, wipe the guy out and take a booking, and then you can have a go at the ref for not giving the foul. You don't just let him run down the wing and put it in the net and then start flapping your arms about to the fourth official and whatever. So, you know, I think what Hoops said is right, and I think we've said before, haven't we? The football at the bottom end of the Premier League at this point in the season is not going to be pretty. It's never going to be pretty at this point in the season. It's about heart and desire and guts and determination. You know, I mean, to be fair to Leeds yesterday, they threw their bodies on the line for some of those shots, and yeah, and again,
balls,
I don't think we did.
Why we got no backbone.
Yeah,
there's no backbone at Wolverhampton Wanderers. Lopetegui will be going around that dressing room now. He'll know exactly who he wants to keep. This man isn't a fool. He'll go round and he'll put his arm around every one of them. You're a world beater, you are. You're just what we need. Even though he knows as soon as he keeps us up, that particular player will be gone.
Boom, yeah.
And I'm telling you now that he and Fosun will be ruthless with this team, because you do not spend nearly £250 million over 2 transfer windows to finish 17th, right? So they'll be ruthless. Your Pedenzes, your Traores, I'll drive him away now, mate. He is infuriated. He has raped and pillaged my club. He has held us to ransom. If you tell me where he's going, I don't care if he's going to Napoli. I'll drive him there in my van free of charge. Now, I don't care what he produces, and he's held us to ransom. No arguing about that. I'll drop him off there. Not a problem. If he don't want to stay, I'd put him in the 23s, right? There's too many, well, just not putting a shift in, right? So Leeds yesterday, Leeds aren't a better side than Wolverhampton Wanderers, but they've got balls, Dave. Like Jack just said, they threw themselves at every ball. Look at the keeper. The amount of times he threw himself at Jimenez's feet.
He's a good keeper as well.
Yeah, good, yeah.
He made a great save off Jimenez.
They wanted it, Dave. How much do these players want it? Did they? Will they die for the cause, as we say? As I said earlier, Alex Ferguson said, you can't have any more than 3 having an off day. You'll lose. Look at the scores on the player ratings you've just given.
Well,
how many had an off day, Dave? How many had an off day there? If you say 6 is probably acceptable.
Yeah, 6 to 7 is kind of. I mean, 6 isn't good enough, but 7's kind of okay. But you expect players to be getting 8s, 9s, and 10s. There was only one player, which actually was Traore, because Nick gave it to Traore, got a 7. Everyone else was below that.
I don't mind that, Dave. What infuriates me is that no matter, he wants 120 grand a week reportedly.
Yeah,
he's not worth 120 grand a week.
Wolves have offered him already. I can tell you for a fact, Wolves have offered Traore that much money. They offered it to him 12 months ago. They're offering him less now because he's worth less.
If they have, well, I'm gobsmacked.
I agree with you on the Traore situation.
You know
what
sums him up, Dave? I'll tell you what sums him up. 97th minute when it all kicked off. There's a bloke there who's the quickest player in world football. He's built like an American footballer, and he gets. I mean, honestly, if somebody had tugged my shirt like that, it wouldn't have made the slightest bit of difference. He could have dragged that player along and still got to that ball with him hanging on his shirt. He's that strong, apparently.
Yeah.
And he just stops. And so does Pedence. Traore is another one. They all just, arms in the air, expect. These referees will give us nothing. Don't expect anything. You won't get it. They are the most inept officials in the last, they're ever, I would say. They are shocking. So don't expect it. Play to the whistle and put a shift in. Get stuck in, and what you put in, you'll get out. And unfortunately, they ain't putting enough in, Dave.
Do you think not? Because like I watched the team yesterday, and I can't say they didn't have any heart because they were trying. 23 shots shows that they're trying to create chances. You see now they're trying. I mean, Leeds wasting time from the 6th minute. The guy, the rumble at the end of the first half when the guy's holding onto the balls, they're trying to drag the ball. I see a team that's getting very, very frustrated with the, and we haven't talked about the elephant in the room, the officiating, because we've been concentrating on how inept Wolves were defensively, which we were, and stuff like that. But we also have to go to the psychology of it, that this is a team that, as fans, as Lopetegui, as everyone, we're getting decision after decision after decision after decision. How many decisions in the last 2 months? We didn't get a penalty against Newcastle last week, a penalty and a red card. Would have been 1-0 up, probably win the game. We got Lamina sent off for walking up to the ref as a third person. We miraculously managed to fight back and win that game. You look at the cup decision against Liverpool. You look at the penalty against Forest that wasn't given when he took his foot off. You look at the penalty again against Semedo at the weekend. That could have made it 1-1. You look at the Johnny situation. It was a red. Completely agree it was a red. But the referee went to the monitor, had a look, came back, gave a red. Didn't go to the monitor for the Semedo incident. He goes to the monitor for the Adama. It's like they're taking the pee. Oh yeah, we'll go over. We'll make them think we're going to get a decision, and then he carries on. It's like 99 times out of 100 they go to the monitor. They change, but no, because it's Wolves, and this is what to me is winding the fans up and winding the players up, and they've got to be better than getting wound up by all these things. I think that's why Troyer is going like this. They're going, oh, not again, not again, not again.
Yeah.
But they've got to play to the whistle. Jack,
Dave, I'd rather he tracked back and absolutely smashed him than hold your hands up. I'd rather he get booked. I'd rather Rodriguez, who got the goal, I'd rather him snap him in half than stand there with his hands open.
Absolutely, and this is the point. But I think that psychologically, there's something going on. But they feel so aggrieved about what's going on.
But you've got to use that, Dave. You've got to use that negative.
Siege mentality.
Exactly. The world's against us, and we'll find a way to beat the world. That's how you've got to play now. You've got, I think, 10 games left, and you've got every game, Dave. There's got to be that mentality. It is no good going to Forest next week, and if it don't go your way, standing there going like this, because I'll tell you now, they've got 26 points, Forest, this season, and they got 20 of them at home.
I know. And if you look at Pep and you look at Jurgen from Liverpool, how many times have they used the world against us siege mentality to get their players
Every
going?
week.
To me, they've got to. You're absolutely right. I'm going to come back on to Jack now. They've got to come out at Forest, and they've got to basically not even let them get out their own half. We've got to go at them, and we've got to put them to bed by whatever means possible at that game, because there's going to be 3,000 Wolves fans that are going to be expecting. We know the Forest fans are, they're first year in the Premier League. They're enjoying it. They're loving it. They're passionate. They're back in the Premier League. We were there first year. We've got 5 years in. They're on a wave at home. And they've made it a fortress, but we've got to go and win that game. Jack, you've heard what Sutty's had to say. I mean, again, and what we've all had to say. We talk about the decisions and the mentality. I've seen you nodding there. Do you think that's having an effect?
I think absolutely is. I mean, I'd like to know these apologies that Howard Webb's sending. Do we cash them in for points at any point? Is it like if we get 5 apologies, do we get 3 points? I don't know how it works. I mean, I was saying earlier, if we did go down, is Howard Webb going to come to Molineux and apologise to the staff that lose their jobs in the club shop, in the ticket office, in the media team? Is he going to do it? Is he balls? They need to stop apologising and start getting things right. I'm going to be really objective here, right? There were 5 key decisions in the game yesterday, and I think the referee on the pitch got every single one wrong. Every single one.
Welcome, talk us through it.
Semedo, it's a penalty. A soft penalty is still a penalty. You can't have a little bit of a penalty or a lot of a penalty. If it's a foul in the box, it's a penalty. It should be given. Okay?
Yeah, that's why.
Dawson should probably be sent off, because we've seen lots of tackles like that this season where there's been red cards. So if we're applying the laws consistently, Dawson is probably, if we're being really honest, lucky to stay on the pitch. Johnny Otto should be sent off. The referee gave a yellow card at first, and it had to be VAR had to bail him out to say, hang on a minute, mate, you need to check this again. And he got the right decision in the end. The fourth goal is a foul on Adama. Yes, he should have played to the whistle, he should have done all this, but that doesn't change the fact that it's a foul. And once he's seen it on the monitor, he should then be given that foul. No excuses. And the fifth one, the one that's really annoyed me, I've seen this evening, the Nunes red card. The linesman bumps into him. So how the linesman can turn around and say, he's pushed me. You've got to send him off, he's pushed me. Disgraceful. So it's the 5 big decisions in the game there. 3 red cards, a penalty and a goal. And every single one on the field was wrong. Now, to a lot of people like me and you and Hoops and Sutty, football's our religion, Molyneux is our cathedral, right? Now, we go there with passion, with belief, with pride. I've seen us lose to Crawley, to Stevenage, to Grimsby, to Gillingham, to Walsall, to MK Dons, to Peterborough, all these teams, right? Losing is kind of it's part of the game. I accept it. If we get beat 6-0 and we've been awful, I'll accept it. I'll go home and I'll have a pint and I'll get over it. Yeah. What I don't accept is when it doesn't feel like the situation is fair. Now, I'm not going to come on here and conspiracy theories and corruption and all this kind of thing. I just think the referees are so bad, so out of their depth, and there's just no accountability and no transparency that the situation is not going to get any better anytime soon. Howard Webb can make as many apologies and send flowers and chocolates to Wolves if he wants to every time the referees get it wrong. Nothing's going to change with this group of officials because they are so bad. I'm being really honest there. I think we got away with a couple of decisions yesterday and we were on the receiving end of a couple of poor decisions. If you're a select group referee, which is the top level of referees in England, to make 5 major errors, that should probably be spread across 20, 25 games. You know, you're making a big error every 4 or 5 games maybe. And even then people are questioning you and saying, not sure about him. He's made 5 in one game. 5 in one game. Some for us, some against us. But that doesn't change the fact that he was absolutely shocking. Now, you've got to separate it from the performance, because I'm not saying here that the referee was the reason we lost. He wasn't. And you could have had the best referee in the world on that pitch yesterday, and we'd have still probably lost the game for the reasons that we've just mentioned. But you've still got to call it out when you see it. And that's why I think, you know, people were saying earlier, is Lopetegui to blame when he's constantly in the ears? He's got to call it out, because he can't sort of feebly stand by and just go, oh, well, maybe we'll get a decision next week then, maybe. The referees are shocking. And it's across the league. Every other team, there's probably Leeds fans watching this and Man City fans and Forest fans and all this. They'll be saying exactly the same. Yeah, we had a decision that's gone against us this week. We had one the other week. Something's got to change. It's really got to change.
You can't blame Leeds fans for enjoying our pain. I mean, no. You know, for them, they've had, you know, I think it's only the second game they've won away from home, and they've been struggling to score, and they've scored 4 and won the game against the relegation rival, and they've beat us 3 times on the bounce. And as what Sutty said, they've scored 9 goals. They must love playing us at the moment. Yeah. Like, you know, they're just, oh, well, don't worry, it's Wolves. We're guaranteed to, you know, they'll implode. They all go on. They all have that song, don't they? That all the other teams, Leeds are falling apart again. That song that they sing themselves. But like, that's Wolves. We were imploding, and then we fought back, and then we still managed to find a way to lose. But you know, if you're watching this as a Leeds fan in isolation, or anyone in isolation, you probably think, oh yeah, moaning Wolves, you know, take it on the chin, you've lost the game. It's not just about this game. It's about a sequence of games. And that's why we're so irate, and why some fans call it out as corruption, which we've talked about. We think there's a subliminal bias more for the top 6 sides than Wolves and Leeds. Obviously, Leeds have had probably had decisions against them, but it's been going on, and that's why we're so frustrated. The facts of the matter is, Wolves, including yesterday, have had six players sent off. 6. We've had no players sent off against us. There was a cast iron penalty and red card last week, but we didn't get it. And these are the things where people say, oh, it evens itself out. And that's why we get frustrated, and why I think the players and the managers getting frustrated. But I'm with Sutty. They've got to put that to one side now, and they've got to go, right, we're not going to get the run of the green. we're gonna, the world is against us. Everyone else wants us to go down for whatever reason. We feel like that the refereeing officials want to get us out the league. So we're going to make sure we score 2 or 3 goals. And if there's a bad decision, it don't affect us. Sutty, come back in on.
Well, I think we should take a leaf out of Millwall's book here, Dave, and start singing "No one likes us, we don't care."
Yeah, Wolves and Millwall.
It's almost like they're trying to set us up for failure. I'll give you a little snippet here. Do you remember when I think we played Burnley? Nuno was manager. I think he ended up getting a 50 grand fine for saying that Lee Mason should never referee a game again. He was that poor, right? And if you look at the stats of poor decisions we've had since that time, honestly, you'd be shocked. No club in this division has had as many, and I can say this for fact, if there was a top 10 of worst VAR decisions ever given in this league, Wolves have got 4 of them.
Exactly. Hoops, you wanted to come in and say something there, mate?
I've got to give a bit of context. I mean, I agree absolutely. If we go back to the decisions, the Liverpool debacle, the Forest you highlighted, Southampton with Lamina, that was a farce of a sending off, although obviously didn't affect the result. And of course, Newcastle, the issue with Pope. I've got to be honest. How I saw it in live, I thought it was a penalty. I've looked at it back. I don't think it's a penalty. That's just my opinion. And if it's clear and obvious, I don't think, personally, being objective, the ref has seen enough to give a penalty. That's my decision. And to Jack's point earlier, Dawson was fortunate to be on the pitch. So and the other two instances are immaterial. Yes, I agree with the Adama. It's soft. I agree he should track back. I agree he should play to the whistle. It doesn't matter if it's soft or not. It's a foul. So, yeah, that should have been ruled out. And the Nunes one will ultimately be overturned, I suspect. But I don't know. But you're both right when you look at it objectively with what we've seen. And that's why, Leeds fans are looking at us thinking, oh, my God, they're making a big context. Because, in my opinion, if you look at that game, Leeds fans quite rightly could say, hang on a minute. Your centre-half should have been sent off in the first half. So, you have to look at it that. And Jack is right that we're not attributing that to the loss, because let's not go 3-0 down against Leeds ultimately, and let's not defend in the way which we've done. And I think what we looked at earlier and what we've all talked about is the body language of some of these players. It's about the fact that we lose the ball, we get a bad decision. I saw Sarr on, I thought the second or third goal, it's gone in. It wasn't head in hands. It was, hang on, who do I blame? Can we check this? Can we check that? We see the way Neves surrounds the referee on every decision. We have to be honest and objective and say, yes, I agree with a sage mentality, but this could also define us. And the officials could look at us and go, oh, it's Wolves. They're just moaning little brats. All they do is they moan and moan. And it can work in the adverse effect. We could have this season now defined by the fact that we won't get the rub of the green. And so, to be honest, I think we just suck it up and just get on with it. Because,
use it.
Yeah, you can use it. You can channel it. You can funnel it. But don't you agree that I think we're at risk here of a little bit of, for want of a better pun, the boy who cried wolf? It's like, how many times are these Wolves, complaining? With reason, but I also think it can go against us. So use it, yeah, absolutely. But
well, Sandhurst Wolves, good, well said. That's a really good point, actually, and I think that's the context that we've got to take from now. We've got to, after tonight, we've got to draw a line about it. We're going to obviously chew the fat on it. We've got the international break. We've got to come out and we've got to have that mentality, as Sutty we've referred to, use it in a positive way, because you can either use it in a negative way or you can use it in a positive way, and that's what's got to happen. Right, we're going to go on to, because we've got 3 more guys wanting to come on, so we're going to close up. We're going to go first of all to you, Hoops. We'll go to you. Moment or highlight of the day, performance rating, man of the match, and to close with, where would you time travel to?
I'll try and keep it brief. Highlight of the game is Kuna's got a goal, hasn't he? Looked a bit fortunate, but he's got a goal. We've got a striker who scored a goal, so that has to be the highlight of the game. There were some poor performances, and other players might be mentioned. And I'm not going to say he was great by any means, but I am going to be positive here and single out Joe Gomez, because that was a tough game for him to come into. He's 3-0 down, and what I did see a bit of fight from him. So, I think there's a player there. So, there are other players in the middle, your likes of Lamina and so forth, who really frustrated the hell out of me yesterday. But I thought Joe Gomez, all things considered, I think there's a player there and there's a bit of fight and there's something to build on. Rating would probably be 5. And then in terms of time travel, I don't know. Maybe,
Doesn't have to be Wolves related. It could be anything.
Doesn't have to be Wolves related. I'm a little bit too young to experience the swinging 70s, and maybe I consider myself, although I haven't got the hair or the look for it, a little bit of a hippie at heart. So maybe, I could see myself in the 70s in Camden with a bit of free spirit and a free love. So maybe that's where I'd like to experience a bit of it.
I love it. Free love. That's great. Jack, to you.
Yeah. Highlight of the day and man of the match. I'm going to roll into one. I'm going to agree with Hoops. Joe Gomez. I thought there was a real player there. I thought he never hid. He didn't get everything right. Yeah. But he never hid. He kept showing for the ball. He kept trying to make things happen. There was a point where I think 2 minutes after Kuna scored, he made a great slide tackle and he pumped his arms up to the crowd like that. Come on. And I think that's what the kind of character that we need going forward, isn't it? Like we've just been saying about the lack of, cojones, for a better word. He's got it in abundance. You can tell that. And I think he's going to, again, maybe not so much start every week, but I think when he's on the pitch, I think he's going to make a big impact in that sense. So he's my man of the match, and also his performance is my highlight of the day. Performance rating, I can't go any higher than a 4. I think when you defend as poorly as that and you miss the chances that we missed, it can't be any higher than a 5. And the fact that it was against a direct rival knocks it down another point, so it's going to have to be a 4. Time travel, I'd love to go and see some of those floodlit friendlies from the 50s against Honved and Spartak Moscow and people like that, just to see how amazing the occasion was. So yeah, I'll go with that one.
Absolutely brilliant. And Sooty, to close this section of the show.
Yeah, Joe Gomez. He's got some balls, and he's gonna be exactly what we need to dig us out of this pit that we're in at the moment. Your fancy damn players with your flicks and fancy tricks ain't gonna cut it. You're going to need people that want to roll their sleeves up and do it for you. I'm going to give it a 4. There weren't enough João Gomez's on the pitch, Dave. Quite simple.
Highlight of the day? Did you and your time travel thing?
Highlight of the day? Well, I suppose Johnny's goal. He'll never get a goal like that again, will he?
Well, no.
Time travel?
Yeah.
I'd probably go back a few years to spend a bit of time with my old man before he passed away, mate, because there's a lot more important things than football, David.
Absolutely. I mean, and on that, it is Mother's Day today as well. So, to all of you guys and girls out there, or mums and stuff like that, happy Mother's Day. I know some of you guys probably would have lost your mum. I'm very lucky. My mum's in her 80s. Potentially being diagnosed with dementia, going through the dementia diagnosis at the moment, and I've still got her. So
always talk to her, Dave. Always tell her you love her.
I do all the time, mate. And as you say, there are more important things than football. And you're absolutely right when you're that, because moments like that, as you say, you time travel back to spend some time with your dad. I'm lucky enough currently to still have my mum and dad. So anyone that's watching it, there's one thing to go football. We all have disagreements and stuff about, but make sure that you you take time for your family and especially your mum and dad, because you don't know when you won't have that anymore. Anyway, that's to finish on that segment of the show. Thanks for that. I appreciate that. And guys, thanks for coming on and waiting so patiently and putting across your views. It really is appreciated.
No
Cheers,
problem.
Dave.
All the best, guys.
Cheers. Thanks, guys. So that's Sooty, Jack, and you know, we really do appreciate them coming on and talking about the show. Next up, we've got Craig. How you doing, Craig?
Hiya, Dave. You all right?
Thanks for waiting so patiently, mate.
Fine, mate. No problem at all.
I much appreciate it. Nathan, welcome. Thanks for coming on. Good to see you after the game yesterday as well, mate.
Yeah, and you, Dave. It's Battle of the Borders. Did you leave Craig and myself intentionally till last?
Well, we've now got Chris as well.
he's battling.
I'm kind of going that way, but you're not going to get much positive vibes from us three here, Dave. I'll tell you now.
There we go. Well, we could, I think Manual should be a sponsor of the show at this segment. It's basically, that the hair thing or whatever it's called. Have the regrowth. But yeah, I mean,
I don't know about the other lads, but I had a full head of hair before the start of the season, so I don't know.
So looks what it's done to us, all the stress. Anyway, I do appreciate you've obviously listened to to everything that has been said. There's been a lot of passionate talk tonight. We're going to kick off first of all with you, Nathan. I mean, you love a little bit of controversy. You never shy away from it and stuff like that. You heard Sam at the beginning on the first thing about he doesn't want Lopetegui. He didn't think he's the man. He's taken us down. He's not good enough. I mean, that's quite controversial. I mean, how did you see that, and what have your thoughts on all the other comments that have been said tonight?
I don't think I can top that one in terms of controversy, and I don't believe that's the right. I mean, he's allowed his opinion, but Lopetegui is a world-class manager,
absolutely,
and we have, he's probably the best caliber of manager we've had back to Nuno, which we'd all love the Nuno days, but he's an incredible manager. And I think that the trouble is, and I'll go back to the transfer window in January, we were all lauding that transfer window, saying it was fantastic. We were all giving it 8 and 9s out of 10. We couldn't believe the business we'd done. I wrote them down here just in case I forgot: Kuna, Sarabia, Lamina, Gomez and Dawson. And we're thinking, well, that's us set up. That's us set up. There's no way we're going to get relegated with that. But again, the bigger mission was goal scorers. We've got lots of little tricky wingers, lots of Portuguese flair, Spanish flair, but no one's putting the ball in the net. And, Costa was an absolute disgrace. I still think he's one of Wolves' worst ever signings. Jimenez is coming back into a bit of form, but I think it's a bit too little, too late. So, yeah, I've listened to all the stuff tonight, and I'm getting a bit sick of this woe is us, this mentality of the world's against us. Ooh, boo hoo hoo. It's like, no, we're not good enough. We're just not turning up. And I think Sooty said it in the last one. The passion's not there. The balls aren't there. And yesterday was a great example of one team had turned up to win that game, and they were the team in white. They weren't the best team on the pitch. We were the better team. We had the better players. But you know what? They turned up and they said, we're going to have this. We're going to go for it. And every tackle, every block, we weren't doing that. We were losing players at the far post, which was the goal. Johnny was an absolute disgrace from minute one. Pedence should have been hooked after 15 minutes. Lopetegui's great at making these swift sort of subs at half time and hauling players off. But he needed to do it sooner for me. He needed to change that game. You could see that Semedo was getting completely destroyed by Notto on the wing. Double up on him, like people do with Adama. Double up on him.
I mean, 2-3 on Adama.
Exactly. I know it was only 5-6 minutes in, but it already happened 3 or 4 times, and it was only a match. You could just see that goal coming. I think sitting in the stands, you thought, yeah, they're going to go 1-0 up here, and they did. Now, we'll come on to the decisions, I'm sure, later, and I'll shut up and let Chris talk in a second. But last week, and I stand by the decision. I didn't think it was a penalty last week for Jimenez. I still think he made the first movement into Pope, and it was soft. And I stand by that. And I think I was about there's probably about two of us in the world that agree with that decision. And yesterday, we all go on about how bad the ref was, but as was just pointed out in the last three that came on for both teams are hard done by. Dawson should have been sent off. That was clear as day for hauling back. Semedo could have been a penalty, could have not been a penalty. And Johnny, I mean, that's a disgraceful tackle. I know it was unlucky, but my God, he could have snapped his leg in half. So, there were decisions bad, but we're just sick of the incompetence of referees in this division. It's getting beyond a joke, and we seem to be at the shitty end of it, for want of a better word. We are getting the terrible decisions against us, and we're worse than any. As you said, Dave, what are we now? 6 reds, none against, with the most in the league.
Not even itself out, is it? We're not getting a break. We're not getting like the Newcastle. I know, like you talk about the thing, but like if it is given, it's probably a sending off. But like we haven't had any of those swings in our favours in a game where we've had the chance to play against 10 men. We've had, I mean, if you think about 6 red cards, okay, Núñez was sent off on the touchline for, backing into a linesman. Hopefully that will get turned over. The Johnny, you can talk about some of the Lamina red card was stupid, but we managed to, I mean, that was 3 points we should have lost, really. And we managed to, have some heart and battle and win the game. But you don't get 6 players sent off and not win and get points generally. Those are it's frustrating, but you think it gets evened out, and that's the point, isn't it? It doesn't. Maybe it will in the next 10 games. Maybe we'll get some decisions go our way, but we'll have to wait and see. Chris, I'm bringing you in on this one now. You've heard what Nathan's had to say. What's your thoughts?
I didn't agree with the Jimenez. I thought that was a penalty. I didn't think yesterday was a penalty with Semedo. We've got to get out of this mentality that the refs and Premier Leagues are against us, because it's just going to kill us. The club motto is out of darkness cometh light. We just need to suck it up and know we're going to get nothing out of this referee today, lads. Don't give him anything to give us a problem, and don't do it. That's what you would have done. When I played football, oh Christ, we got him this week. Better not do anything but I think it's masking some things. The first thing is we ain't good enough. We have got some really, really average players there who, worse than being average in this league where you can't afford to have average players, they don't apply themselves. There are players there every week at the moment who are not doing the basic things that they should be. And I don't understand why they keep being picked. So that's a bit of a...
When you say keep being picked, what players do you refer to when you say that?
Right. So he's brought Nathan Collins on 4 times, I think, and it's turned into a car crash. I watched him stand stand on the touchline and let a lad runs round him on that touchline. What the hell? Stand off the bloke, and I'd rather him put a tackle in and miss than just stand there and be waltzed round. It's just basic stuff. Mateus Núñez, the most I've seen him energised and aggressive was when he got sent off yesterday. And he got sent off, and he should have been sent off because he wasn't in the box that he should have been. He was by the linesman. He shouldn't have been there. Don't give the officials the chance to do things, and that's what they're doing. I can't understand their mentality. And Hoops was right about Ruben and his constant jibing at the ref. You just next game you watch him. He's always in on the ref's ears. It turns you off.
It's his job as a captain, though, to be talking to the ref. He's the one person that he's allowed to talk to the ref.
But there's a way you do it, Dave, and I think he's far too over the top. And I get that they feel a bit unjust and they think everything's going against them. But you've got, if they don't get out of that mentality, we're going down because, oh, woe is me, they're all off. I mean, some of them players on that pitch, Pedence yesterday. I messaged you in the match. I said, what, you know, I messaged Jason. I couldn't believe it. I think that first half performance from Pedence, and I like Pedence. I think he's a good player.
He's our top scorer.
But that was awful. That was absolutely awful what he was doing yesterday. It was. I just couldn't fathom it. I just can't see them applying themselves properly, and it, you know, it just. I think the lads earlier were right. The only one that really I thought had a good go yesterday was Gomez. You know, I thought
he's hungry as well, isn't he, Gomez? He wants to get in the team as well, you know. So young and hungry, which we want every player to be.
Lamina was getting a bit of a battering on social media last night. I don't think he was particularly at fault. I mean, he was playing as a sweeper at one point yesterday.
What?
So again, you know, it's like I mentioned it last week. Let's stop tinkering with the team. You know, we're doing all sorts of things with the team, bringing players on here, players on there, and I'm not sure I'm not sure they get it. I just can't see. I've been quite positive the last few weeks because I thought Lopetegui was getting there. I could see some, but that yesterday was absolutely atrocious. It was abysmal, and we got to stop hiding behind the referee. And the fact that they're not making decisions. We got to wake up, acknowledge that we're not doing what we should be doing, and change it.
Okay.
Even the manager is, you know, referee this. If he thinks that red card's going to get rescinded, he's living in cloud cuckoo land. Nunes was not even in the technical area.
I think it will get rescinded personally. I think it's a ridiculous decision, but like, yeah, probably shouldn't have been. But like, you know, you see people out the technical area all the time and they don't get sent off. I mean, look at Bruno Fernandes the other week when he actually pushed, or as has been said there, an official. You know, he got nothing. Craig, I'm really going to be interested to hear your thoughts because you always say how you think. I mean, you've heard Chris go on about the referees and stuff like that. Didn't think it was a penalty and stuff like that, you know, and the players and stuff. But you know, I mean, what's your view on how this is affecting everyone? You know, I mean, we talk about it a bit. I mean, I really want to hear from the heart what you think.
Yeah, absolutely. You'll get it straight, Dave, regardless. We have currently in the Premier League got the worst referees in world football, but everybody's got them. We are getting our unfair share, but it's not deliberate. These people are incompetent. And what is worse than that is that the people that should be getting it 100% right on VAR, having the replays, seeing it 4 or 5 times, that I would guess 99% of any football fan that watches football on a regular basis would get those decisions right. These Muppets can't. But it's the same for every single club. It's the same for Leeds. It's the same for Man U. So this victim mentality that we currently have at Wolves is killing us. Because yesterday, every single decision that went against us, you saw the reaction from JL, from the team, as though, oh, woe is us, woe is us. Let me tell you, everything that has been wrong at Wolves for the last 2 years was on show yesterday. We weren't a better team than Leeds. We've got better players than Leeds, but Leeds were a better team than us. They fought as an 11, never say die, and they murdered us, having 36% of the ball. We couldn't score again. Absolutely clear-cut chances. Players just panicking, blind panic. It's like taking an exam when you're trying to remember answers and you get that black spots in the front of your eyes and your mind goes blank. We've got that problem now in front of goal. The number of chances, clear-cut chances that we created yesterday, we should have been 3-4-1 up at half time, and we weren't, because we haven't got players with a presence of mind to calm down and just think about what they're doing. There's no measure in front of goal, but we've had that for 2 years. What is worse now is that we can't defend, and we can't defend because we've got 2 fullbacks being picked who've never. Johnny this season has not had one good game. So why is he playing at all? Right? He's not played well once this year.
We're missing Bueno.
Oh, Semedo, that we've talked about how many times now, looks great going forward. That guy cannot defend. Yet again, yesterday, that out ball for Leeds over his right hand side, right to the player, 4 or 5 yards away from the Leeds guy, crosses in. What do we get? A goal. And our start yesterday, Dave, summed up for me. After 30 seconds, I was shouting, "Wake up! Wake up! Wake up!" What did we do? We sauntered about like we were going down to the beach. Golden Cathedral, Golden Crematorium. If we're not careful, there is so much wrong. We are not a team. Johnny, I wouldn't play him again. That tackle was awful.
Well, he's going to be suspended. How many games suspension? Is that 2 game ban?
3. It's 3.
3 game ban. I'll be surprised if he plays again this season.
How he didn't break that bloke's leg, Dave, I will never know. That was a dreadful tackle, and summed up the ref, because when he gave him a yellow to start with, it was an absolute straight red, and you saw the guy's leg bend. It was absolutely awful. Yes, the Semedo penalty. You're absolutely right. Stonewall, soft, yes, but it was a foul, so it's a penalty. Last week's was a Stonewall penalty. Absolutely Stonewall. Everybody says
this is why Howard Webb's got a parking space at Molineux.
But other teams have had really, really bad decisions. We've just had our unfair share of them, that's all. But our team is the reason that we are where we are. Not the refs, not the opposition. We are playing, well, yesterday summed up what was worst about Wolves, and our 2 fullbacks, they shouldn't play again.
See, I'm going to come back because I think Semedo's been quite good this year. I think
he can't defend, Dave. He can't. How many goals have we conceded from that side?
I will disagree with that. I think he's been one of our better players overall. I think he's been. I mean, you've got your view on it. I don't think he's as cool, but I think sometimes with Semedo, he's not had the cover. I agree with Johnny Otto. Since he was a great servant for Wolves. He's had a great career. He's had 2, almost career-threatening injuries. He's come back, but he ain't the same player. He's got the heart, but the 3rd goal is just cataclysmic mistake. It's like he's leaning into the guy and he just gets his pocket pinched, and that should not happen. It's at 3-0 down. We almost give up the ghost. People left, and then obviously he redeemed. He comes and it's a great goal. He hits it first time. It goes in. Fair play. He's standing still. He's got a lot of space. He sees the keeper off his line. He goes for it. It goes in. But he's got a 3 game ban now. I can't see him coming back from that. Bueno, who's a young lad, has been one of the players of the season. He came into the side, but almost by accident. He's again hungry, got heart. He's good. He's learning to defend. He knows when to go. Norrie has got something there as well. But I think you're right with Johnny. I think Semedo sometimes gets a little bit exposed. That's my opinion, but I think he's improved a lot compared to what he was. Nathan, coming back onto you now. You've heard what Chris and Craig have said. Had a chance to think about it. Looking forward now for Wolves. What if you were Lopetegui, what sort of decisions would you be taking?
It's a tough one. I mean, we're depleting the team week in, week out through injuries and suspensions at the moment. So,
and don't forget, Neves is still one yellow from a 2-game ban.
I know. I mean, we were all a bit disappointed when Neves was pulled, but there were reasons behind that. I think his hamstrings were a bit tight. We all thought it was because of the looming suspension. So we can't not play Neves. I mean, Neves and Gomez in the middle were, head and shoulders the best players on the pitch yesterday. So I think moving forward, you've got to start Kuna. Hopefully he's match fit now, because every time he plays, we've seen the statistics. We get far more goals with him in the team than without him in the team. He's a threat. He's not the finished article, and we're all wondering whether he's worth the 43 million that we're probably paying for him. But he is new to the league. We all thought Jimenez was a complete waste of space when he joined because he couldn't adapt. And look at the player he turned into for a good couple of seasons. So I think we need to give him a little bit of break. Sarabia.
I think we look better when Kuna's on the pitch. He seems to link up the play. When he came on and stuff like that, I think he's not. I don't think he's a number 9, but I think he's great to play off a number 9. And he was good. I know it was a deflected goal, but at least he shot. He had a shot, and we had a bit of luck, and he went in. I think you're right what you're saying. Kuna will probably turn out to be a really good player, and he got injured just when he was starting to make an impact. He's coming back. We keep picking up these little niggly injuries as well. Sorry to interrupt you, Nathan. Carry on.
No, you're right, Dave. I was just going to say about Sarabia. I think he's the one at the moment that's really disappointed. He's not offered anything. Whenever he's come on or when he started, I've not seen enough from someone who's come from PSG and is supposed to be this fantastic little player. I've not seen a thing yet, which is going to change my mind. And we are struggling a little bit when you think, Hwang's out now, and he made a bit of an impact in the last game. Let's not forget, we beat Spurs and Liverpool, but then we lose to Bournemouth and, Leeds. And you think you'd rather that was reversed, actually, beating your relegation rivals and not worrying about beating the top 6. They're the ones we should have took points off. Irregardless, I think moving forward, we need probably 11 points from the last 10 games. 38 was enough to stay up last season. What are we on at the moment? 27. So we
need 11 points.
We need 11 points. So, we all wonder where those wins are going to come from, but none of us saw us beating Spurs or Liverpool. So who's to say we won't beat Chelsea? Go away to Forest and get something. They're not a great team.
We should have beat Forest in the cup. We were battered them second half.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And I think we can go and beat Forest, but I think we haven't got to be like waiting for the batteries to warm up and before we start playing, because when we go a goal down, we don't come back that often. We need to, when we go in front, we don't tend to lose games when we take the lead. How do you take the lead? Is by getting on the front foot straight away and taking the game and attacking and getting the goal, and then you're in front. They've got to come out. The gaps open up. As Leeds picked us off yesterday, especially for the 4th goal. But
Dave, the game we took by the scruff of the neck was Liverpool. We came out and we absolutely charged at them. Those first 15 minutes, the press was just wonderful to watch, and Liverpool didn't know what hit them. We don't do that in games. We're like you say, we're far too lethargic when we start. We pass it around too much, and then teams just rush us. And Leeds, right from 2 or 3 seasons ago, the Leeds team are always known for their press. And yesterday was no different. The energy and the press, and we couldn't cope with it at times. And again, has been pointed out by many people on this show, there were too many players having bad days and not showing up for the fight. In that midfield especially, you had Gomez and Neves. Lamina wasn't having a great game, but he wasn't helped by the wingers giving up. Adama, that was atrocious. I mean, to just fling your arms in the air and go, oh, I've had my shirt pulled a little bit. So what? The whistle's not gone, mate. Get on with the game.
Had he reacted like he should have done, instead of complaining, which I do think it was a foul and should have been turned over. But regardless of that, it didn't matter. He should have not have. If he'd have reacted properly and actually got and won the ball back, they wouldn't have broke on us and scored the goal in the first place. You win the ball back and then you get the foul if you need to. But no, that's back. We've all played. That's like we talked about earlier. These are all the basics that you do. Johnny Otto, if in doubt, kick it out. Don't dilly-dally in your own penalty area. and lose the ball, and then they're straight in on the 6-yard goal. I mean, it goes through Sarr's legs, but he wasn't expecting Johnny to do that. Just get rid of the ball. Basic mistakes. And I think this comes back to what a lot have been saying. This is the worry, the naivety of what's been going on in the defence, the concentration level, on the awareness of what's going on around us. It's like, you'd expect like us in defence, like us four playing at the back, and some a decent little football inside, score a goal like that, because we're not professional footballers, and we wouldn't pick up the run of running around and stuff like that. But we're not professional footballers that train week in, week out and know what Leeds are going to do, and then you just switch off and lose your man like that, or you just dilly-dally on the ball in the 6-yard box and have it nicked off you and there's a goal. They're basic errors. Lopetegui, he's obviously, he's got 2 weeks to the next match. I'm hoping he eats, because they say he doesn't eat after the game. He must be tearing his hair out, of what's going on. It needs to be sorted out between now and the next game. He talked about keeping clean sheets. We conceded 4 to a Leeds team that hadn't won away for ages, that can't score more than 1 or 2 goals themselves recently, and we've conceded 4 goals. And the Leeds fans are ecstatic. I mean, you can't blame them for being in that. I mean, Chris, hopes. Do you agree that do you still feel that we're going to have enough to stay up? Do you think there's going to be a reaction, or you really
when we asked where we were going to be at the end of the season about 2 months ago, I said we were going down. I couldn't see us getting away from it. And Lopetegui has changed my view. I really don't know what planet Sam was on when he was saying, I did put on there that there's a saying, some people have more money than sense, and as Sam sits in the Billy Wright stand and can afford to sit in there, he's obviously got more money than sense, because Lopetegui is not a bad manager, and I don't think he is going to be the reason. I think he probably in reality didn't quite understand how bad some of these players are or have become. I don't know, it's a mentality thing. I don't know, and it'd be interesting what Paul thoughts were if he was around 1 week about these constant issues on whether it is making them.
I'll tell you that I had a message off Paul, and he's going to vent it all out on our podcast later on this week. So that will be a good one to listen, but because obviously just the psychology side of it.
Yeah, but do I think they can turn it round? I can't. Johnny. I used to play fullback. Johnny is a fullback. He can play as a fullback, but he just hasn't got it anymore, Dave. His body is not doing what his brain wants to do. He's late to things. He's not concentrating. I don't know whether he's still in some pain. He's not quite fully fit. So there's the first problem. I don't think we've got anybody else to play. I think Aït-Nouri's got a little knock.
No, apparently it was tactical reasons he was out the squad.
Not having a backup left back when you've got Johnny on the pitch is probably a mistake by the manager. Adama, everybody's getting on his back. We need to understand with Adama that he's really only good at one thing, and that is getting down that wing and either putting a great ball across or a crap one. That's all he does. He's not going to trap back. You're right. He should have got up instead of standing there flapping his arms about like he was on the front of the Titanic with bloody whatever when he went down. He should have got up and gone back and got in and intercepted, put a tackle in, got his body in the play. He just didn't do it. But I'm just worried that they don't seem. It's almost like they don't care. And that's what I'm starting to feel, that some of these players, and it might be because what he was saying, they've got off an idea, they're off. I don't think the manager's stupid enough at this stage of the season with the squad we've got to start telling people, you're off in the summer, pal. I don't care what, start looking for a new home. I don't think the manager would do that, because that would just turn them off straight away, and he's never going to get them where he needs them to be. But I don't know, subconsciously, some of them are switching off because they know my days are numbered here. I see bright sparks. Kuna gets a ball and turns towards the goal that we're trying to score in and goes. I don't think we've got many other players that do that.
I think Neto's kind of in that thing. He looked quite.
And he looked good. He looked good. Yeah. I thought he was all right. I was fuming that Neto was off at half time and Pedence was still on there. I really was yesterday, because I thought, bring Pedence on the left and put Adama on the right straight at half time. He waited 6 minutes for him to get another goal before he did that, which was a bit of a. So I suppose I am getting a bit annoyed with Lopetegui, because I can see there are things happening and they're not being addressed, and whether he can't address them because that's all he's got. He's got to work with them. I don't know. It must be difficult for him when you've got players doing this stuff, and they just keep doing it. So I don't think we're going to go down. I still don't think we're going to go down. But I'm hugely disappointed in the outlook of the players yesterday. I was really upset when Johnny let that guy do a Viennese waltz around him yesterday. I stood up and was shouting for him to get off. It was right in front of me. I just can't abide bad, really basic bad defending, and that was awful. So I'm not 100% doom and gloom, but he's got some work to do here, and it's starting to look like it's mission impossible.
Well, let's hope it's not mission impossible.
And the worry I've got is if it did all go wrong, I could see us doing a double dip thing again, and we'll be getting on a bus and going to places like Lincoln and York to watch.
We had the League One season. We enjoyed it for what it was. That's not going to happen again. We can't.
Yeah, but I don't want to be going for a tour around the bloody cathedral at Lincoln or York and then watching a match afterwards, because it's
that's a good point. Go on, Craig.
I'm sort of not into this. This team don't care.
I agree with that.
You see too many flashes of absolute passion, and when things go right, it's an immediate response. There's nobody sauntering about. They're all absolutely up. I think what we have is a squad where some of our players are fight, but we've got too many flights where things go wrong, and rather than stand and fight the corner, we've got too many players that back off or walk away. We've got 20 goals that we've conceded at home this season in 15 games, and we've only scored 12. And that, in a nutshell, if you look at stats, and I look at them after every game, outside of the top six, Wolves dominate possession against every team. They have more possession, but other teams are more clinical than we are. And you saw that yesterday. In that first half, Leeds had the first 3.5 minutes, and then we battered them and scored none. And the number of balls going across the 6-yard box, that sort of goal striker poaching is instinctive. You can't train that into people. They're either going to be there or they're not. And we clearly haven't got people that are there. I mean, 12 goals in 15 games at home. That's dreadful, and that's not just this year, is it? This has been going on for 2.5 years.
Exactly, it's an issue. I think what Sutty says. I think we get to the end of the season, and hopefully we stay up. There's going to be the knives will probably be out, and lots of things will be happening because we've got to improve for next season. And Lopetegui's not going to stay around if they're not going to. Be challenging for Europe next year. We've got to stay in the division. Nathan, I just want to, because we're over 2 hours, so it's been an epic show tonight. Obviously, have your say on what's going to happen now and how you're feeling. We'll stay up, but we'll also go straight into highlight of the day, performance rating, man of the match, and of course your time travel question as well. So in this segment, and then we'll go around everyone else to finish off the show.
Sure, Dave. It's a lot to digest. Let's see how much I can bore you with. I think we'll stay up, but it's who knows at the moment. It's so tight. One or two bad defeats again, and could we get out of the mire? I'm not sure. And everyone talks about the fact that there are three worse teams than us. I'm yet to see them. What I'm seeing at the moment are a lot of teams down there who are battling for their lives, and I don't see that in every game with Wolves, unfortunately. I know we talked about, a lot of people on the chat are saying that we're kind of making Traore out the scapegoat. I think it's just sometimes the petulance and the arms flying up in the air that, gives us that opinion and thinks that, well, you just wish he'd show a bit more passion and drive, because I think that's Adama in a nutshell. Every manager thinks they can get the best player a better player out of them than actually there probably isn't there. He's a one-trick pony. He gets to the byline and he puts some great crosses in. You kind of have to just put up with the other side of the game. So I'll just move on to sort of performance rating, man of the match, etc. So I don't think we deserve more than a 3.5 for yesterday's performance. I think there weren't many players that were more than a 5 or 6 in terms of performance rating. I'd agree with most people who said Gomez. I thought Gomez was, with Neves, sort of head and shoulders above the rest of the team. I think he just showed that passion, that fight, and there was a gesture to the crowd at one point to come on, get behind them, and I think he was doing it to his own teammates as well. He was trying to speed them up and get a bit of drive into them, because he could see they were flat and not fighting like they should do. So, and moments of the match, I think, was Cunha jumping into the Leeds fans to get the ball back. He's obviously from the favelas in Brazil, because that takes some balls to jump into a pack of Leeds fans and grab a ball back. I've been to Ellen Road, and I've been in a few scrapes myself up there. They're not shy in coming forward, the Leeds fans. So yeah, I'd say that was my man of the match, Gomez. Moment of the match was Cunha jumping in. And if we were going to time travel back, for me, I think going back to New Orleans in the 50s to see Nat King Cole and some other the jazz cathedrals in New Orleans, just sublime. I just wish I could live through that period when music was really coming to the fore. So yeah, and the Wolves weren't too bad in that period either. So that'd be quite nice to go and watch them win a couple of leagues and FA Cups.
That's class, mate. That is. Right, back over to you, Chris. Again, same questions.
Just one more point on Raul. I forgot about it. I was going to bring it up. Will he stop standing in front of the goalkeeper when he's got the ball in his hand, wasting time? Because it's costing us. He's not. I just don't know why he does it. It's ridiculous. He seems to do it all the time now, and he's just delaying the kick. It's just eating time up. Oh, sorry, ran over. If I was going to go back in time on the subject of Raul, I'd like to go back to just before COVID hit us. So we didn't play him in that bloody game at Arsenal, and he didn't have this injury, because he's the best striker I've ever seen at Molyneux when I've been watching games, and he's not the same guy. I want him to get back there, but I don't think he's going to be. I'd just like to get him back, because we need that guy now. We need that guy we had now. We'd be in a much different team if we had that player back now, and he's not quite got there. Rating, I'm going to give it a 1.
Wow.
Thought it was awful.
Okay.
Stats, possession, we had 68% possession. How much of it was in our own half that was going between the fullbacks and the centre halves? We got to stop. Get the sodding ball forward. I get we're trying to make space. I get we're trying to invite him, but we seem to have players that can't do it anyway. So stop doing it. And so I think I'd give it. I think I'd have to give Gomez the man of the match, because I really don't think anybody else had a good game. I thought people saying we had 6 off colour. I think it was more 9, 8 or 9. I think it was. And my final thought will be: everybody keeps saying there's 3 teams worse than us. There wasn't yesterday. That was the worst performance I've seen from a Wolves team for a long time.
Okay. Thanks, mate. I appreciate that. 1. Okay. Craig?
Yeah, a 3 for me, Dave. You can't have that much possession and do nothing with it and then defend like you don't know how. For all the fancy dance stuff, it's meaningless. If you don't score and then you concede for every single shot the opposition take, then it's a 3. Gomez, only because of the passion, with Nevers as a very close second. I'd like to go back to 1066.
Battle of Hastings.
Yeah, and tell King Harold to stop staring. There's a pun there. We'll get there.
Yeah, he got shot in the eye by an arrow.
Okay, look, it's late, I know, but I thought that might make you smile, but obviously it's far too late. And
I went over my head. I'm thinking he went over his head. But I know he had an arrow in the eye.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, stop staring, Harold.
Yeah.
No. On a serious note, I'd love to go back to 1974 Wembley again and relive. I was 14 and standing at Wembley when King John put that ball in. We were talking about the replay at Stoke. That was due to be at Stoke on the Tuesday night, and we were saying, "How are we going to get there?" And it was a magical day against a very, very good City side. But that was a great day at the old Wembley Stadium as well. It was just wonderful. So I'd sort of like to live that again.
Absolutely well summed up, mate. Absolutely fantastic. I'm just going to go round and just to finish off on before I'm going to ask all the pundits quickly just how many points we're going to finish up on and what position. And the reason for that is just to buy a little bit of time whilst you guys in the chat can tell us if you managed to spot this week's secret word. So you've got about a minute. If you can put them down on there, I'll put all the ones up on the screen. But whilst we do that, we're going to go to Nathan first. Where are we finishing, Nathan, and how many points have we got?
I think it's going to be 17th, and I think it's going to be 37. So just by the skin of our teeth.
Just by the skin of our teeth, absolutely. Chris?
Yeah, I agree with Nathan. I think we're going to be 17th, but I do think we will be 17th and can't be caught before we go into the last game of the season.
How many points will we have?
38.
38 points. Same question to you, Craig.
Yeah, we're going to finish where we are now, 13th. And I think we're going to finish up with 39 points.
39 points. Okay, so there you have it. So yeah, guys, just to let you know, all of you guys that put in the comments that the word was cathedral, you are correct. Absolutely brilliant how the guys have got, all 9 have got the word cathedral into there. I mean, I was smiling, the jazz clubs and, Molyneux as quiet as a cathedral. I mean, some brilliant ways have got in, absolutely commendable. And I just want to tell you why I went with cathedral tonight, because the referee from the last game surname was Salisbury. Salisbury have a cathedral. That's why I kind of went. There's always a link in there somewhere. Guys, it's been such a well-attended show tonight. If you've watched it live with us, we've done over 2 hours. We're approaching 2 hours and 15. It's an epic show. And we've had over 300 with you pretty much live with us the whole way through. If you're watching this back on YouTube on the catch-up, leave your thoughts in the comment section on each of the points. I always read them. I've got a lot of comments to go through over the last few days. Absolutely. And if you're listening to it on the Always Wolves podcast, it will be up as always Monday morning once the producer's got the audio and uploaded it. Leave us a comment on a rating, a 5-star rating if you enjoy it on your podcast provider, because that lets them know that you're enjoying it as well. If you've been watching this live or you're watching it back, if you value this sort of content, please smash a like. And if you're new to the channel, all your Wolves news and updates regularly, almost every single day here on Always Wolves. Consider subscribing, supporting the channel. That would be absolutely amazing. Chris, Nathan, and Craig, and all of the guests tonight, thank you ever so much for coming on and speaking your mind. That's what it's all about. Final words, each one of you, if you can, give us some hope in one sentence to say goodbye. Nathan first.
You shouldn't come to me for hope, Dave. That's the last person you want to come to. Look, we've had a couple of good performances in the last few weeks. You know, Tottenham, Liverpool, real highlights of the season. Who's to say we can't have a couple more of those again? And you know what? Johnny was bloody good against Tottenham. That was his one and only game this season. I think he was actually okay. He's been awful for the rest of it and doesn't deserve a place in the squad. But I think going forward, we are a team that, you know, have some real lows and some real highs, and I think there's going to be just 2 or 3 more real highs in the season. Hopefully, starting at Forest and then carrying on to Chelsea. And who knows, you know, we could have enough points by the time we hopefully get to Arsenal and Everton, those last 2 games, because they're going to be tough. So, I'm optimistic-ish, but the proof's in the pudding, isn't it? How many more cliches can I chuck into one sentence?
I don't know. We'll have to try and do that. That was a very long one sentence as well, Nathan.
Yeah, sorry, mate. Sorry.
Chris, one paragraph, then we'll go with that.
Yeah.
I think it's important that we come on here, Dave, when when it's not going so well, and not just come on here when it's all going well.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
you know, we've got to talk about it, and I've enjoyed coming on and talking about it because I've been right miserable this weekend. But I still got hope, and we've got to remember what the club motto is, and if we keep that in our minds, then we might get there.
Let's hope we do. And Craig, final chapter of paragraph, not a chapter, bloody hell, paragraph to you to finish up on.
Straight to the team this, Dave. Stop smiling. Start snarling.
Oh, I like that. I think I should have a T-shirt done with that on.
Hey, I think I'm going to put that in my office on the wall to motivate all my troops.
Stop smiling.
Stop smiling. Start smiling. I quite like it. Maybe I'll get a T-shirt with that on. Hey, I like it. Right. Anyway, guys, absolutely brilliant. Love to you and your families. Love to your moms around the world, and any moms that are watching tonight as well, because I know we have people from all over the world that watch. It's Mother's Day here in the UK. Keep the faith. Out of darkness cometh light. Let's put it all behind us now. Enjoy the next couple of weeks, and then let's get to Forest, and let's really take the axe to their trees and cut them down to the size that they want to be, that they need to be, and get those 3 points by any means necessary. If we have to have a siege mentality, it starts now. We need to survive in this league and build for next year. Until the next one, from all of us, Always Wolves.
Always Wolves.